KASAFA seems to be running football in Jamaica as the JFF is without leadership. Meanwhile, the US is forcing Jamaican government to accept buggering. This is Undiluted News, Mikey Bones reporting. A diplomatic row has been simmering between Washington and Kingston over Jamaica's refusal to accredit the spouse of an American diplomat. The dispute is threatening to sour diplomatic relations between the two traditional allies. Earlier this year, the United States government wrote to the Jamaican government seeking its approval for the married partner of a diplomat about to be posted to Jamaica and who is in a same-sex relationship to be given diplomatic immunity and all the privileges of a diplomat. And it's believed that the Jamaica government did not respond to the request in a timely manner. When the US sent another diplomatic note demanding a response, the Jamaican government responded rejecting the request. A senior government official said that an approval of the request would mean that Jamaica would recognize same-sex marriage, which is illegal in the country. And it is said that the US then responded rejecting a request from the Jamaican government to extend the stay of 3 diplomats in Jamaica's embassy and consulates in the United States. The US has now served notice that the trio must leave immediately after their 5-year diplomatic visa expires. And it is not known what other diplomatic measures, if any, the US government might take against Jamaica in light of the government's refusal to grant immunity to the spouse of one of its diplomats. And we are right now urging the Jamaican government to hold fast, not to bow to this ungodly act. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has promised to assist a St. Elizabeth farmer with the purchase of a donkey to help with transportation needs. And the farmer made the appeal to the Prime Minister during his recent visit to the parish to hand over a house to a resident under the government's Housing Opportunity Production and Employment Program. During the exchange between the female farmer and the Prime Minister, part of which was captured on video, it was noted that a donkey was a viable alternative to the exorbitant costs associated with other forms of transportation, primarily driven by the poor road conditions in the area. And Mr. Holness said he's going to make sure that this lady gets her donkey. The Kingston Western Police have increased their presence in the division following renewed tension involving rival gangs based in the Tivoli Gardens and Denham Town on the weekend. The police high command has imposed a 72-hour curfew due to the rising tension, and this is after several persons were shot and injured in an outbreak of violence over the weekend. A taxi operator was among 2 people shot on Saturday during a reported confrontation between the police and armed men along Spanish Town Road in downtown Kingston. It is said that about 10 p.m. on Saturday, a police party was on patrol along Spanish Town Road near the Coronation Market when they received a radio message that men on a motorcycle had just fired at a police team and were heading easterly along Spanish Town Road. The motorcycle with 2 men aboard was intercepted near Justin Plaza, and this led to a reported exchange of gunfire between the police and the gunmen. One of the men was found with bullet wounds along Beeston Street following the running gun battle. He was pronounced dead at hospital. And it was later discovered that a taxi operator was also shot while sitting in his vehicle during the exchange of gunfire between the men and the cops. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. In another incident on Saturday, a man was shot dead along Industrial Terrace near Tivoli Gardens about 9:30 p.m. Police said that they responded to gunfire in the area and found the man with bullet wounds. The deceased is Kevin Williams of Cheltenham District in Newmarket in St. Elizabeth. And while the police were processing that scene, 2 men were shot along Milk Lane. It's reported that the men were standing along Milk Lane when a motorcar drove up and 2 men alighted and opened fire at them. A police team also reportedly came under fire while on patrol in Tivoli Gardens on Sunday, but the gunmen escaped during an exchange of gunfire along Drackett's Place in the community. An illegal firearm was reportedly seized in that incident. Meanwhile, a man was shot dead in Flanker in St. James yesterday morning. Investigators said that 40-year-old Ricardo Spence, otherwise called Richie Rich or Canadian, was visiting a girlfriend about 9 o'clock when he was attacked and shot by unknown assailants along Claude Clark Road in Coral Gardens in St. James, and no motive has yet been established for that attack. Over in St. Elizabeth, a car wash operator was shot dead in St. Elizabeth on Sunday night. The police said that 33-year-old Jerome Wallace, a resident of Jointwood District in St. Elizabeth, was seen leaving a party about 11 p.m. Shortly after, explosions were heard in the area, and his body was found about 5 o'clock on Monday morning along the roadway with bullet wounds. And over the past 2 weeks, 70 persons were murdered in Jamaica. You're talking about 70 people murdered in just 2 weeks. A 17-year-old boy has been identified as one of 2 people fatally shot during an alleged confrontation with the police in Gordon Pen in St. Catherine on Sunday. According to the police, Dwayne Cunningham of Seaview Heights, Priory in St. Anne, and 34-year-old Cleon Rowe of Kennedy Lane in Garden Pen were killed when a team carrying out an operation came under heavy gunfire. The incident is said to occur at about 8:15 at Kennedy Lane. The police said at the end of the exchange, Cunningham and Rowe were found with bullet wounds. Two 9mm pistols along with 4 rounds of ammunition were recovered from the bodies. Meanwhile, residents have dismissed the police report that the men challenged them in a gun battle. On to sports, Jamaica's senior women's football team experienced a setback ahead of the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup after their key player Jody Brown was injured during the Reggae Girls' 1-0 friendly victory over Morocco on Sunday. The ninth staging of the FIFA Women's World Cup will be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand and is scheduled to take place from July 20 to August 20. Lauren Donaldson, head coach of the Reggae Girls, said the forward should be out for a few days. Atlanta Prima scored the game-winning goal for the girls in the 18th minute of the contest, which was played behind closed doors at Galvin Park in Melbourne in Australia. On July 23rd, the 43rd-ranked Reggae Girls are to face the 5th-ranked France in Group F. Thereafter, the girls are to meet the 52nd-ranked Panama on July 29, followed by an August 2 match against 8th-ranked Brazil. And we just hope that Jody is going to be ready for those games. Mead Forest FC president Dalgish Henry is vexed that his Under 15 and the Under 13 teams have been barred from entry for the Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association KASAFA Under 15 and Under 13 tournament, which kicks off on Saturday. Mead Forest FC was suspended indefinitely by KASAFA in March for going against the association's policy of boycott when it participated in the Jamaica Football Federation National Tier 2 competition. And this suspension, based on KASAFA constitution, means that Mead Forest cannot compete in any of the body's tournaments at any age group level. Now, we're asking, where is the Jamaica Football Federation? How can they allow a minor organization like KASAFA to be dictating who can play football and where in this manner when it was the JFF that had accepted Mead Forest to play in the Tier 2 competition? The Tier 2 is a Jamaica Football Federation competition. KASAFA decided that they won't take part. Mead Forest, who belongs to KASAFA, says we're going to take part because we want to be able to play Premier League. Now KASAFA ban Mead Forest. And the JFF, they just sit back and watch KASAFA bar the team because they play in the tournament that allows teams to advance to the Jamaica Premier League. This JFF, if they sit back and allow this to continue, they are an organization that needs to be dissolved because the JFF obviously is without leadership. And if you ever miss the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube and type in Jamaican Undiluted News. Listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. Please subscribe to the channel. That's news and sports on your radio station. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.